Hi, I'm here to tell you about the lesson I created for Ed 658. The lesson is entitled Real-Life Examples of 1/2 and 1/4, Making Connections. I'm starting here in my blog because this is where I do all of my curation and where I post my lesson plan, the rubric, and all of the links to everything that I've created. So whatever I've done, you can find it here. This is the address up here, lori733.worldpress.com. So if you're interested in seeing more at the end of this video, you can always go back to my blog. You're looking at the lesson plan right now, and what I did is I looked at the standards. I started with the standards and I read through them and tried to pick several that seemed to go together. Once I did that, I was able to construct a rubric, which will be down on the bottom, and I actually have it down here. I can put it up so you can. Okay, that's a little bit better. So here's the standards. Some of these are the practice standards, and those are found throughout the lesson. Students constructing arguments, using objects and drawings, justifying their arguments, listening to others. The content standards that I chose were telling time to the half hour, using correct money symbols, identifying values of coins, and then the geometry standard down here, partitioning circles and rectangles into 2 and 4 equal shares, describing shares using the words halves, fourths, quarters, and phrases, half of and quarter of. I was really interested in seeing if the students could make connections to everyday life, and so I started with a pretest. Before I get to that, I'll just show you very quickly the rubric. This is the rubric that I came up with. This is what I was hoping that they would do. Tell time to the half hour on a digital and analog clock. Use cent and money symbol correctly and consistently. Identify coin values and equivalent values up to $1. And the geometry standard, partition circles and rectangle into 1/4, understanding decomposition, solving problems from everyday life, and then the listening and speaking standards, and this came into play when they were working in their groups. There we go. So this column right here is my 3, and if they do these things, they are meeting the expectations. And the things in this column over here are things that would exceed expectations. So just for example, I'm having a hard time scrolling around here, understands the use of fractions other than 1/4 and 1/2. So if they use like 1/3 or 1/6, for example, then they would get a little bit higher score. So for a pretest, I gave my students a piece of paper and I said, please draw as many examples of everyday life, fractions in everyday life as you can think of. And this is what I got. I got a rectangle divided into 2 equal parts, but this one doesn't have any shading, it doesn't have any written 1/2, very limited evidence of understanding. This one has a little bit more. I'm able to see the written 1/4 and the 1/2. I'm able to see that they understand that 1/4 is 1 of 4 equal parts. They've done 4 different drawings using shapes, and 1/2 they understand that it's 1 of 2 equal parts, so a little bit more understanding. And then this one, you can't see it that well, but they did draw 1/2 and 1/4. They used a circle and a rectangle, and then they also drew 4 circles and shaded 2 of them. So I'm not sure because they didn't write 1/2, but I'm thinking this is a little bit higher level of understanding because they were able to show me 2 different ways of 1/2, showing 1 of 2 equal parts and 2 of 4 individual things. So because I didn't get very detailed results, even though I had suggested using time and money and as many different examples of real life as they could think of, I really didn't get anything other than shapes divided up into 1/2 and 1/4. So I had to go revise my plan, and I had to give the students 1 to 3 different individual assessments, 1 on fractions, 1 on time, and 1 on money. And there's a category here for real-life examples, but as you can see, there is no purple showing up on this graph. So that's that. That's the pretest results. After the student presentations using the VoiceThread and the Show Me, I tested them again, or I didn't test them again. I used the rubric to assess their understanding, and this is the level of understanding that they were showing. Almost everybody is at the proficiency level, with several students going above and beyond in several categories. So I was pretty excited with these results. Students were very motivated to use the technology and really developed a great deal of understanding because of it. Once I had the rubric, once I had the standards that I wanted, once I did the pretest, I was able to develop the lesson plan. So here's an anticipatory set. I used a couple YouTube videos that had great examples of 1/4 and 1/2 in everyday life. If I scroll down here, I think I can find a picture of the first. Oh, here they are. So one was fractions in your everyday life, which was really great. It was perfect for first grade. And this was what fraction of the baskets. It's always having to do with looking at a group of things and dividing them up. So it was really 2 different ways of looking at fractions, just to kind of get them thinking of examples that were real, related to everyday life. So that was one thing I did. Another thing I did was I wrote a letter to the parents and said, next week for show and tell, we are going to be bringing in examples of 1/2 and 1/4 in everyday life. And when they did that, I took a picture and I put it into a VoiceThread. And as the students shared their show and tell, I had them also do a little VoiceThread. So I'd like to share a little bit of that with you right now.
All of these together is $1. If you do this, both of them is 50 cents, half of $1. Rosie took up 1/2 of the bed. My mom took up 1/4 of the bed, and I took up 1/4 of the bed.
Another thing I did was I created an example show me with several different examples from everyday life, like a clock, a quart water bottle filled 1/4 of the way full, a measuring cup, just different examples just so they could get some ideas and also see how the show me worked.
Stopped at the 6. So that's why we can say the time is 1/2 Can also divide this clock into 100 cents. Did it only in 2 parts, I would have 1/2 here.
So you get the idea. Finally, the students themselves created the Show Me with a little technical assistance from myself. They were thrilled to have a turn and create their own Show Me's. I had a hard time finding a high, medium, and low group Show Me, but as you will see, there are examples of high, medium, and low levels of understanding throughout.
In real life, this clock shows 6:30. The big hand went halfway around the clock. This clock shows 5:30. It went all the way down to here, and then it kept going some more and went down to here. Oops, what am I doing? Oh no! This comes down again. I'm done. This clock says 1:30. Or 1/2 past 1.
So I would say probably this student right here had the highest level of understanding and did the best job of explaining. This student, although the time was correct, she had a very difficult time of explaining, and this was probably a medium level of understanding because they were able to explain, but they did need a little bit of prompting. Students were able to explain 1/2 and 1/4 using money.
Yes. Okay. I understand. All these quarters are $1 if you put them all together. 1/4 is 1/4 of $1.
So I would say this student demonstrated a pretty good understanding. He was able to show us that 1/4 is 1 of 4 equal parts, that 4 quarters equal $1. The only thing I would have added is I would have liked to have seen him write that 1/4 is equal to 25 cents, but I was pretty happy with this.
Each one of these 5s equals 25 cents. I mean, that was wrong. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25.
Okay, so all of this is 25 cents?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now what?
This is 1/4 of $1. This is 1/2 of $1. $0.50 is 1/2 of $1. What?
Hold on, okay, go ahead.
A whole dollar. And if you split this in half, it will make 3 cents. If you split this in half, it will make 6 cents. Each one of these wheels is 1/4 of all 4 wheels.
Now that you've seen some examples of students showing the understanding with money, here's some other models that they built to show different fractions.
1/2 of all the chains are different colors, and one's bigger because you have more chains on it. All together, 1/6 of the box is colored, and 5 of the blocks are not colored.
So if you like those student artifacts, you can find the links here on my blog. They're right here. These are the Show Me's. This was our VoiceThread. enjoy. And thank you so very much for listening. I found them to be a wonderful assessment tool. I can think about their levels of understanding and talk about it with them, and go back and watch them. Thanks again.